Hello again, Misfits, and welcome to a snapshot here. We're doing a playthrough of American Psycho, a killer game. I'm going to show you how to play this game basically through a round. Now, of course, as always, reference your rule book, but I'm going to give you the general gist of how to play this game. So this is American Psycho. It is a trick-taking game. You're going to be going through, and like any trick-taking game, if you haven't played them, it's okay. They're everywhere. They're kind of an old school game. You're basically going to be playing cards to a suit. All the cards have a suit to them. And if you take a look here, I'll show you some of them. They basically come in numbers at the top and different suits. There are 4 suits total in the game. Like I said, you have, we'll just say gold, blue, silver, and red. So everybody at the beginning of the game is going to get dealt cards, usually 10 or 11 cards, as well as a special card, this confession card we have right here that goes in your hand at the beginning of the game. Now, mind you, there are variants for this game. We're just going with the basic setup here, okay? Because they do have other cards to add in. But for this, we're just going to go with that. This confession card is special, and I'll tell you how to use it later. So at the beginning of the game, you have your setup like this. You have your meetings here. You have your round, and at the beginning, you choose a killer suit. That is important later on. And the first person will get the leader briefcase, and we'll get the chainsaw. This keeps track of the rounds. This keeps track of who's leading the trick. The chainsaw keeps track of the rounds. It'll travel around at the end of the round, signifying who starts the lead for the next round. So with that out of the way, the first player, the leader, the current leader, will flip over a meeting card. These are shuffled up at the beginning of the game and are random. The meeting card will have 2 sides to that, an A and a B side. These are rules that will possibly alter the trick or maybe change the killer suit. Whoever's leading gets to choose which side of this. It also gives you the murder conditions or the rage conditions, whatever you want to call it. So for example, I have an A and B side. This is lead with a business card. Business cards are referenced on the quick sheet, by the way. That's just the name of the suit. We'll call it silver suit, but each of the suit has a specific name. So we'll pick that one. Put this over the side that we're not using so that we don't get confused with the rules that are available. And then I will lead. So I have to lead with a business card because that is part of the rule. So I'll put out a card. This is the business card suit and it's an 11. Now the person following me, and this is the same for 2 people to 4 people to whatever, have to play a card of that suit. So they need to play a silver card. Like all trick-taking games, you're always playing to the same suit. So the other players, as I said, will play their own cards. Now, as long as they have the suit that I played out, they have to play that suit. They are forced to, basically. No way around it. If for whatever reason they don't have that suit in their hand, they can play any other card they wish to play. However, the lead suit is the one that counts. So if they don't happen to have the color suit matching it, they're not going to be able to win. There's a caveat to that though, and that's where the killer suit comes in. If for whatever reason they don't have the color of the suit that you played as the leader, if they have the killer suit instead in their hand and they don't have the correct card to play, correct suit to play I should say, they're able to play any other suit they want. Now, normally of course that wouldn't help you. However, if they have a card in the killer suit and it isn't the one obviously the leader's playing, they can play that card. And what happens is that card, that suit in particular, trumps all the other suits. So the person after them, of course, still has to follow the lead suit. So more than likely, that person's gonna be able to take the win because they have the killer suit. Obviously, if the next person doesn't have the same suit as the leader, they can play whatever card they want. If they happen to play another killer suit, then it goes down to high number because at the end of this, the high number is really what matters outside of the killer suit. So after everybody's played cards, let's just say he plays his normal hand, you will look at the highest number wins. The person then gets to choose out of the cards available, not his own, to take and put in his collection, his score pile. It's called acquiring it. His card gets discarded and he gets to choose one of the other cards to keep and it goes into his scoring pile. That's important and you got to pay attention to the special rules for the scoring pile because sometimes you might want lower cards, sometimes you might want higher cards. Choosing is a big part of this game. So you take that card and it goes into your scoring pile. Now you got to look at the murder conditions on the card. They vary from round to round, obviously, and depending on what side you pick. It's not always the loser, but it says if you played the low rank, you ignore the suit, you get the murder card. This is important because normally, okay, the lowest rank is going to obviously be one of the losers. However, if say somebody played a killer suit, they didn't have the silver and they played it, that might be the lowest card. So it varies between round to round. So when you meet that condition, you get a murder card. Now the murder cards are in order. You first get music. After that, from then on out, it still continues in order. If you happen to get another one in another round, you get a murder weapon. Then if you get another one in another round, you make a victim. Because, you know, if you have Huey Lewis playing in your ears and you have an axe, you're probably going to murder somebody. Because, I mean, you know, it's just how it goes. I mean, listen to Huey Lewis for 14 hours, see what happens. So you'll have a victim. Now, when you get your victim, these cards reset. You lose both of these cards, and it restarts again. So in a following round, when you meet a murder condition, you'll start back to music again. You meet another murder condition, you get an axe. You meet a murder condition again, you'll get another victim, and these reset. That is important because murder victims are generally bad. If you have murder victims at the end of the game, it's generally going to be negative points for you. However, there is a caveat to that. If you have the most victims, if you are the most vicious American Psycho, they're actually positive points. So say we end a game and Misfit Tom here has 4 victims, Misfit Joey has 2 victims, and I have 2 victims. Tom is going to get positive points for that. He's going to get 4 points, where we would get negative 2 points instead. So there's kind of a balance going on there. You're trying to get victims, but not really. And if you have the most, then you're going to steamroll. It just depends. But that is an important aspect of the game to keep in mind. This will go around. The leader briefcase will then travel around after the trick is done. It'll go to the next person who will lead with one of their cards, and everybody else has to follow in the same suit, trying to one-up the card that was just played. Once everybody has a chance to be leader, the round resets. Everybody gets dealt cards equal to the number of players minus 1, I believe. So if it was a 3-player game, yeah, correct. We'd get 2 cards. And then we would continue on. The chainsaw would move over to the next person, who would basically begin the next round. The round counter would go down, and then that person would start off as the leader, starting out the trick. And you're going to go around like that, and the amount of rounds vary. I know there's 8 on the board, but it depends on the amount of players. So it does vary when it ends, but you're going to keep going on to that. The killer's suit will also change as it goes along, because there will be cards that will come out that might make you clear it out, or it might allow the leader to change it. So that will also change throughout the game. And then you'll keep going around, round after round. This chainsaw will travel, starting a new leader each round, and you'll be collecting a whole plethora of acquired cards. And once you go through all the required rounds, you score them at the end of the game. Like I said, the scoring does change depending on the suit, so they're not all scored the same. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole game right there. Now, there are variants in this game. They have other sides to these cards that will give you different abilities and things like that. We didn't really play with those, but it can add complexity. If you wanted to add complexity to the game, they can give you different abilities depending on these cards and how they flip. There's also special cards in the game. I don't have them out here, but instead of the confession card, I should probably mention the confession card here. So you do have a special card in the basic, kind of the regular setup. It's a confession card, and instead of playing your card to the trick, and it doesn't matter if you have the proper suit or not, you could play this card. This effectively pulls you out of it. You pass this turn and ignore all murder cards, and you can't be targeted by the winner, just in case the winner has an option to give somebody a murder card or whatever. This basically effectively pulls you out of the whole trick. Now, the only downside to that, though, is that if somebody wins the trick, they're able to take this card and put it in their hand. And if you hold on to this card at the end of the game, you get to remove one of your victims. I guess you confess to it. It doesn't really count, right? Basically. Yeah, that's how it works, right? It's like the Catholic style here. So basically,
yeah, you confess, you still get to
you confess, you still get to go to heaven, basically. So there's a reason maybe to hold on to this card for you, but if you're in a pinch and you really don't want to lose a card, or you're going to lose the trick and lose a card, whatever, that you could play this out. But again, the winner of the trick will be able to take this card, and when they get these kind of cards, they go to your hand. They do have other special cards too. There's several other ones that can add to the complexity and let you do different things during the game. But that's the whole game in a nutshell, guys. It is a trick-taking game with quite a cute little add-ons and rules to it, and they added the murder theme nicely. But if you want to see my honest review on it, go check out my 1-minute review. Otherwise, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. Don't forget to reference the rulebook, and as always, murder on. Thank you.